Hey everyone, thanks for attending this AMS session. Today we have crypto strikers here with us. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome Adam from the team. Adam, pleasure to have you here, brother. If you can start out introducing yourself, talk about your team, and give us a bit of insight into your background and experience, please.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you so much for the nice introduction there. My name's Adam, otherwise known as VC Adam on Twitter and also Telegram. I'm the communications lead here at Crypto Strikers. I'll tell you a little bit more on the team, but before I do, I'd just like to say, how I got in contact with this team was actually directly through the CEO. His name's Rudolph. I'll show you him in a second. What really impressed me was just kind of the scope of what he had in mind for Crypto Strikers. And I have him on screen here as well, because I think it's important to kind of get that face to the project, understand, what is the ambition, what is the core team trying to do? And the core idea is this. After seeing what was done in the crypto market through multiple different cycles, yes, he was here for the bear cycles, the bull cycles, most recently, the most recent bull in 2021. He's seen that most of these project devs, what they do is kind of disingenuous to the holder in that when they do, something common called a burn, right, which was popularized by, Shiba and other big projects, they're not doing it really with their investors in mind. Meaning, yes, they're bringing down total supply, but at what cost? Well, if the team has a large allocation, what ends up happening is, yes, they're burning down supply, but then you're opening up more potential for you as the team to then sell on the tops of your holders, which obviously is not right. So he said, you know what? I think we need to, speaking from his point of view, I think we need to redefine what it means to burn tokens. And in fact, let's completely change that word and have it be sacrifice instead. So it's not just burning a token. It is truly sacrificing that token for more gains within the ecosystem. And we're going to talk about what that means exactly, but I wanted that to kind of set in first that this was the big vision that Rudolph, the founder, really, wanted to embody in Crypto Strikers. And it's something that I think is being fleshed out in a really strong way as we continue to make our way through the fair launch here at Pinkso.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction there, Adam. So that's really awesome that the team reached out to you and you became the communicator. You improved communication for the team there. I did read through all 33 pages of the white paper and also about the founder as well. Like you mentioned, one of the biggest takeaway for me is that I kind of sense that he been in the space for a long time, seeing what's happening in the space, especially I guess we call that the jitters, right, where they're 20%, 50%, or 1x, and they sell, right? Regardless whether it's commitment to the community. And I sense that he despised that. That's for sure. So that's why Crypto Strikes was born. Correct?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, 100%. I think we all resent it in some way, right? Whether, let's be honest, maybe one or two of us were even that person that sold before the full potential of a project, or maybe we know people or really despise those, contract creators or devs who do the same. Like, we don't want to get into projects that are like that. We want something that's different, but you also want to have the visibility of the team to understand this is a real person. You can find them on Twitter. You can even find them on Instagram. I get a little feedback there. Sorry. But I was just going to say it's really valuable to know that this is bucking the trend, right? This is something that's breaking that standard paradigm that have gotten us to the point where we do become JEETs, right? The everyday, holder, there's a reason why they're selling early. They're selling early because they've gotten burned by teams too many times. So when you're actually seeing something that's redefining what it means to have a burn token in your ecosystem and actually, do some pretty, in my opinion, some pretty innovative things when it comes to staking your tokens and getting something way different in return, you're giving an opportunity for people to at least get into something different.
100%. And I think there's got to be a balance, right? So I think, like you mentioned there, I think in the past or what we're seeing currently right now is especially in the space that we're in right now, right? Like the pre-sales, and you just have like a lot of projects just being out, developers just being out projects left and right? So there isn't much substance to the project, right? There isn't a solid business plan or solid business model where it brings substance to entice the investors to hold, right? And so there's that side of it as well. But like you mentioned, I guess hopefully, during this interview here, that maybe you guys can be the project that can change that mindset around. Because like you mentioned in the past or currently right now, investors do not trust the developers, or there isn't much going on in the projects. The reason why they sell early, right? Because they've been burned before. So with that being said, Adam, I'd like to cover the basic first. Let's talk about the KYC and audit. Where are we at?
Definitely. Well, very important question. I'm happy you asked that. So something that I really love about PinkSale, and I get a lot of work from PinkSale being a listed marketing partner there, specifically for AMAs. I have a lot of people come to me for projects saying, hey, will you represent us? Can you look into this? Can you connect me with, some AMA groups or callers, whatever? There's the good and the bad of PinkSale, right? It has the highest traffic. It is still the #1 decentralized launchpad out there. It gets tons of volume. Lots of money comes through it. But with that, a lot of bad actors tend to propagate themselves here, right? So you'll have projects that rug, like, gosh, there was was it like SafePad, I think recently raised a ton of money and then rugged. What you want to look for is that the essentials are covered. And some of those essentials are an audit and KYC. Not just that though, they have to be from reputable sources. So yes, there is an audit here. Yes, there is a KYC. But what really impressed me is if you actually go to the main Crypto Strikers website, you're also going to see, there's a link on here. I'll have to find it here, but there's actually a link to a more advanced audit that was done by CertiK, but you can also click on the audits here as well and see some, additional links. So actually it's linked here already. They updated it. So you're able to see that they do have an official CertiK Skynet audit, which is really the pinnacle of audits that you can get, at least with a reasonable turnaround time. So to see this is not your run-of-the-mill audit. This is a very in-depth one, which is great. Their dev team addressed any medium issues and minor issues, and we're able to, update the contract to have it be as, basically user ready as possible. The big thing is no critical issues found, which those are going to be the ones that allow for double spend or just problems in the core contract that can actually be a huge issue. So I'd love to see that even under the most, strenuous tests that CertiK can run, there were no, high risk issues. So love to see that. Also on the KYC front, what's nice here is PinkSale themselves did the KYC. They KYC'd, the founder himself. So Rudolph, I can tell you being in the room, not in the room while it's happening, but being in the room where they're actually getting the KYC ready, they never keep the process the same. I know who runs the KYCs over at PinkSale. It's Baby Pink. And she constantly is changing the questions, specifically to mitigate scammers and otherwise that might come through and memorize a script or pretend like they're a dev or pretend like they're part of the core team. She's always changing the questions. Every single time I've helped the project or advised them, they always come back to me saying that KYC process was no joke. That was extensive. But anyways, I'm happy to see, of course, Crypto Strikers pass with flying colors, KYC badge, and of course, a very reputable audit badge as well through CertiK.
Cool. I mean, very nice to see that the team is taking the extra steps to get that CertiK audit. As we all know, CertiK is now 100% proof, but it is the top dog of as far as security audit in the space currently. So that's actually really good to see that. And now is the CertiK completely done there, Adam?
So with the CertiK audits, the way they set this up with a Skynet version of this is technically it's never done, right? Because the Skynet ensures that it's always being, watched essentially in case there's, more issues that come down the line. There's always new exploits that can happen. So it's always kind of running to make sure that there's not additional issues. Now, as far as acknowledged and, partially resolved or fully resolved, this is the current standing, right? So the team has said, where it's sitting right now, they feel very comfortable with, and there's nothing that's going to cause, an issue down the road from what they see. So that's basically where they're at. But I did just want to mention, you're correct. An audit is never fully done when you're, at the level of a CertiK or a Paladin or a Peck Shield. They always have some sort of continual process to make sure that even if new exploits come up, that contract that they audited is not vulnerable. So it is kind of an ongoing process.
It is, and it's actually Skynet is actually optional. So I'm glad that actually the team actually decided to take the options. It's actually being monitored live, so it kind of alerts you as there's risk coming through the contract. So that's actually the highest, the most comprehensive audit you can actually get from CertiK. So that's really awesome. Perfect. All right, so KYC audits out of the way. All right, so what would you like to speak on next?
So what I'd love to do is just kind of speak about kind of the core utility, right? So as you mentioned, there's many pages in the white paper, right? It is being revised as well, cut down a little bit. But to be honest, the team is also not afraid to share how feature rich this project is. But let me break it down to, just less than 5 minutes here where I can explain high level what you're getting into when you buy Mammoth token and why there's already been almost, 5.8 ETH coming in with still, a full day and a couple of hours left. So at a high level, what you're getting with the Mammoth token is the ability, as I mentioned earlier, to sacrifice your tokens, meaning they're burned forever from supply. You're staking into our DApp, which by the way is already available in beta phase and is being just having a few tweaks to it done to get the DAO system online, and then it's going to be fully operational for launch, which is really exciting. But what you're getting when you're sacrificing these tokens, because it's really important to understand this, is you're getting two things. One of them is 1 point per token that you're putting in, and that's going to be for revenue share. The other part is a fourth of a point, so 0.25 points towards voting power. So every single time you sacrifice your tokens, you're getting 1 point for rev share and a quarter of a point for voting power, basically like a DAO vote. You can think of it that way. Now you might ask, well, why would rev share matter, right? This is a token. Is this a company? What is this, right? Well, it's important to also look at, some of the expertise of the team, right? So it's not just Rudolph, right? He's the CEO, but he's assembled the best of the best when it comes to, development, contract developments, all in-house. And what they're looking to do is deploy 7 projects, right, in the next 7 to 8 weeks, which is really, really impressive. It's extremely ambitious. It should make people go, whoa, that's wild. But they're also looking to expand the team as well. The reason why I mention this is because as this ecosystem grows, it's going to include things such as a decentralized exchange, which for those that don't know, there's a reason why Uniswap has stuck around for so long. They're making killer money on positive slippage trades, on, of course, their nominal fee that they charge per transaction. Being in a DEX is good business. You know what else is a good business? Exactly where we're at right now on PinkSale, being a launch pad. PinkSale makes good money on every single listing that's done and also a success fee after on the raise. So what's Mammoth looking to do? It's looking to build an entire ecosystem through its own incubated projects that it's launching. And of course, the revenue that's generated through those, whether it be positive slippage trades or whether it be success fees on launches or otherwise, those fees are going back in to be shared by all the folks that sacrifice their tokens. So there's legitimacy given to those sacrifice tokens. The other thing is, and you wouldn't really know this for anyone listening, perhaps, unless you maybe looked into Rudolph yourself or kind of understood the connections he has. Through the time he's been in the crypto space, he's worked with very legitimate companies, both in Web 2 and Web 3. And some of them in Web 2 are looking to actually bring their brand to life in Web 3. So whether it be, tokenizing their brand, clothing brands or, consumer brands, such as like drinks or food items, there's a big interest still in Web 3, and it's only going to increase as we get closer to the next halving in April, right? It's not too far away. That's why you see the likes of Lacoste and, the likes of Adidas and otherwise, they're in NFTs, they're in Web 3 for a reason. So I love to see that this is not just reliant on revenue flow from some sort of tax farm system or also some sort of, just reliance on Web3. It's also integrating Web 2 and Web 3. But it's going heavy on Web 3, of course, because that's where we are. That's where we're fundraising. We want to make sure to acknowledge that piece. But yeah, that's a little bit on, how it works. Now, there is more, of course. There's tie into NFTs where you're going to be able to take these rev share points, publish them to an NFT, and now it becomes mobile in the sense that you can sell that NFT with a cemented amount of points that you bestowed on it, and you can sell it to someone. You can use it when you need. You can lend it. You can do all those things, and they're also looking to build an in-house NFT marketplace as well. If that sounds ambitious, it is, but it's going to be done in due time, of course, but it leads to rev coming into the system.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, it seems like you guys are trying to build out a complete ecosystem for Web3, from what it sounds like, and it is very ambitious. Now, with what you mentioned there, Adam, you're talking about the exchange, very lucrative protocol, or I guess it's a great way to make money. Launchpad and NFT marketplace. What are we looking at here? So apparently these are designed to bring in external revenue that can feed back to the ecosystem eventually, right? Which benefit the early investor early on. But what are we looking at as far as roadmap goes on this?
Definitely. So, of course, in the actual white paper, it'll outline, but also we have a roadmap section here. So in the roadmap, you can see here some of the obvious stuff you would normally see, right? Website creation, making sure the V1 of the white paper gets created. I was there for the V1. It's come a long way, which I'm very happy to see. Starting to do some organic marketing, so kind of getting this out to some few private groups. Of course, there were some private investors in this as well, which the team's very proud of. That actually came from a YouTube creator who's very into the project as well, which is great. As you can see here in the private sale, they raised pretty good amount of ETH, but here's what's great. And I want to put emphasis here. The ETH that was raised in the private sale or any raise prior to the fair launch here, they're not getting any additional tokens, no bonus tokens. What they're getting instead is a very lucrative 35% bonus in sacrificed points, meaning they are getting a boost in the rev share they're getting access to, but they're not getting more tokens. What that means, why that matters to the investor potentially listening right now or in post, is that you're not going to get dumped on by some person that found this earlier than you, that found it in private, that found it wherever, right? You're getting it at the exact same price as they would be, except there is that bonus, of course, in sacrifice points on the platform, which is pretty nice. Now, as we go into the further parts of the roadmap here, you can see kind of what we're starting to see a little bit more recent, of course, CertiK Audits, more marketing rounds being, continuing on, a private presale round, which was filled at 13 ETH as we continue on. This is where it really starts to get exciting in my opinion. Press release. So, there's external entities talking about us, such as Cointelegraph, which you can find the article on our socials. You can even just search on Google and find it. That's actually better. Help the algorithm, the search algorithm a little bit, SEO. So in addition, of course, more marketing and then official listing of the Pink Sale fair launch, which of course went live just a few days ago and is in its last day of fair launch. Now, as we continue on, what you'll see coming up here is, of course, the official launch. So we still have, a day and some hours before the pre-sale ends, but just to look forward. Now, here's what's great is on launch, there's going to be a utility for your token. You're going to be able to do the first round of votes. That voting will be captured in the dApp itself. And again, the dApp is like 99% done. I saw it for myself. I just came back from a trip. While I was on the trip, they said, hey, I know you're busy, but I want to show you the dApp. That put a smile on my face. I was like, this looks cool. I know it's not done yet, but it looks pretty cool. So what I'm also excited for as well is, helping out the team and actually doing walkthrough videos, kind of showing people how to connect their wallet, how to do their first votes on the DAO side, how to, sacrifice their first tokens to actualize some of their rev share. I'm really excited to be able to walk through that in the live version of the dApp. And we can continue on here. Again, there are many phases, but of course, it's going to be updated as we go, and it'll be fleshed out more in the white paper as we go. But you can see the last phase here is going to be around ensuring that the launch is productive. I already mentioned there's no one getting bonus tokens, so you don't have to worry about that. But we want to make sure that it's marketed properly, as it's mentioned here, listed on CMC and CoinGecko fast, also dependent upon volume as well, and then just pushing strong on launch, something that most projects never really get to because they don't want to, right? They usually pocket the money and they bounce. But when you have a very visible team such as Rudolph and the rest of the core team, they're here to stay. They're here to build something. And they've also identified, a core issue in the market, and they're looking to fix it through their sacrifice system.
Awesome. And I do definitely want to circle back on the sacrifice and dive deeper into that, what that represents and what that really means. So that way the community understands better, and also to touch deeper into the dashboard here. But since you brought up the private sale there, Adam, what was the raise on the private sale? Do you have that number or?
I do. I do. So round one was, what is it? 25 ETH. And then you can see here, I think it's on tab 3. Was it tab 3 or tab 2? We had it right here. The second round was for 13 ETH. And again, this is for no extra price difference. The bonus is the benefit, right, basically. So for round one, which was 25 ETH, there was a 35% bonus. For round two, which is the 13 ETH raise, it was for a 20% bonus, but again, in platform points, meaning sacrifice points. So they're getting a rev share boost. Now, I did want to mention, I'd be remiss not to mention this, by getting into the fair launch on Pink Sale, you also have the opportunity to get a nice little bonus. Now, it is reserved for those that go max contribution, so pretty big money, but there are some people that aired some interest. If you get into the max contribution of 10 ETH, then you're actually getting a 30% boost on your sacrifice points on platform. So yes, you're getting effectively right in between round one and round two by picking up a max bag, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's a little bit on the numbers.
Awesome. Now, since that you brought up the sacrifice a lot, let's dive deeper into that. What is that? I know you touched up on it a bit though. Let's recap on that. What does that entail? What is the sacrifice? What is the boost? And how do they get the boost? And what is the kickback? And give us all the details on that if you can.
Definitely. So I think what would be best would be just kind of understanding again, it's high level points of what do we mean when we're talking about sacrifice, right? So it kind of fleshes it out here, right? But it's going to be a very simple to use portion of the DApp. As I mentioned, the DApp's already 99% done. In fact, just as a quick aside, if we go here, let me see if I can open up a quick tab here. Should be able to see the dashboard. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the dashboard's already done, right? Now, the version that I got to see in demo was, of course, the back end of this where they actually connected a wallet up. They were testing out some of the polls to be able to work with the governance. But basically, when you sacrifice your tokens, what you're doing, it's a simple, couple clicks that you're doing in the DApp, meaning you're connecting your wallet first, whether it be MetaMask, Trust Wallet, Wallet Connect, whatever. You're connecting your wallet. Once you do that, it recognizes that, of course, you have Mammoth token in your pocket. And once you do, there's going to be a separate option to be able to sacrifice your rewards, as you can see here. So you'll be able to click sacrifice now. You can select how many of your tokens you'd like to sacrifice. And then you're able to actually claim your revenue as revenue flow starts to come in. Now, again, where is the revenue coming from? The money has to come from somewhere. Where is it coming from? Well, the team is very ambitious with how they're looking to generate that rev flow. Again, it's going to be incubated in-house projects that the team is going to be scaling up their team to be able to accommodate. They're going to be able to handle the first couple, no problem, but it starts to become pretty big, right? You need a whole team dedicated to the DEX. You need a team dedicated to the launchpad, or at least one individual. So as those things start to scale up, the team also is flexing their connections, which they've had some great connections with, not only just some of the best lounges out there, but also influencers and otherwise. Rudolph has great connections in the real world as well, being quite the whale himself. He knows some pretty influential people. So being able to pull them in and kind of speak about the project really helps. And just as a little bit of, I like to call it almost like social proofing, right? If we go to this little video that Rudolph sent me, this is now again, guys, this is just a preview, a little thing to maybe get you a little excited. This is for a demo reel we're looking to fully release once all their videos go out, but the deals are already being negotiated and being signed. And this is the promo reel for some really big creators that the team is interested in. So here we go.
You lose you there, Seattle?
No, I'm still here. I'm watching the video. I cannot hear the volume on the video though. Can you guys hear the volume?
No, I can't.
So hey Adam, it looks like we can't hear the volume, but the video does look pretty cool. It's a nice promotion video, and I do recognize
Awesome.
a
For some
bunch of
reason,
those
it's
YouTube.
not playing the audio, but it's just some cool music. So as long as you see the
I
visuals,
see.
that's the important part. And there we are. So again, that is just a demo reel. Those deals are being finalized. They're also quite expensive, I can tell you. I know some of the prices of those guys. Even Kevin O'Leary, yes, you can get a promo video with him. It is quite expensive though. If you know the right people, you can bring it down a little bit. But that is a demo reel that they have in prep for all of those being finalized, which is great. Now, again, when we're talking right about being able to kind of bridge from Web 2 to Web 3, if you saw in that video, right, there's partners that have a very, very big Web 2, reach. So being able to speak about the simplicity of connecting to a dApp. People don't even know what a dApp is outside of the cutting edge space that we're in crypto, right? If I tell my best friend what a dApp is, I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's a crypto thing. I don't know, dude. But if you have someone who's highly influential saying, look, it's super simple. You download this app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, whatever. You click the web browser thing, you go to this website, and then you load it up with money, from Coinbase or wherever, and then you're able to, do this, and you're able to sacrifice these tokens. And what it is basically you're taking these tokens and converting them into basically business revenue share is the best way to kind of think of it as, right? So there's, of course, walkthrough videos that will need to be done, which I'm actually planning for when the dApp is finalized, to be able to kind of smoothen that process. But I love to see new people coming into crypto, because here's the great thing. They're not jaded. They're excited to get into something new. And especially if you have the right influencers behind you, they're very optimistic to be able to make some money, right? Everybody wants to make money. But unfortunately, in the crypto space, we've become very, very jaded because there's been a lot of projects that have promised the moon and ended up just taking away everything, including the stars, right? So being able to have something unique that is actually looking to bring in new people as well as crypto veterans, I think is quite exciting. But again, just to emphasize, this is not done just yet. This is purely the promo video. But as those creators start to release their videos, of course, we're going to release this, and it's going to probably make some pretty big splashes on social media. But anyways, bringing it back to your original question, what's the whole sacrifice system? It really is as simple as staking into the dApp, sacrificing those tokens, meaning you do not own them anymore. Instead, they're converted to what you could think of as platform revenue points. And then as the ecosystem gets built, meaning there's new utilities coming online, DEXs, Launchpad, the Launchpad, and otherwise, there's going to be money coming in that's generated through the use of these. That money is going back proportional to how many tokens you own that you've sacrificed inside the dApp.
That's actually very clever. That just put it into perspective, so that way the community understands it better. So what's sacrifice in traditional world where you sacrifice, right? Pretty much you burn the token, right? So most of the projects out there, you actually send it to the debt wallet, you burn the token. Now, from my understanding of this, what Adam's explaining is that when you sacrifice, you also take out the total supply, you reduce the total supply, right? So that means that it takes out the circulation supply or even the total supply. So that's no longer in circulation. But at the same time, it converts that into your, position of earning rewards in proportion to how much you burn from the revenue. Ultimately, that's what the team is planning to do, is create a bunch of, grow the ecosystem and create that external revenue. And that you guys, so let's say if I hold 3 tokens, I get whatever percent of the revenue based on the proportion of what I hold off the 3 token. So it's actually pretty clever in the sense that they are doing that. It's actually really cool. But like Adam mentioned, there is something that you guys will have to look at the roadmap, see where things are at, and monitor those revenue, right? To make the assessment to see whether you guys want to burn those tokens. Pretty much you guys are giving those tokens away to earn some revenue share points. So actually, Adam, it's actually very clever that the team did that, because I know that this is actually one of you guys' main future. You guys put a lot of emphasis on this future. And I think it's very clever.
I definitely appreciate that, right? And I know the team does as well. It's one of those things that it's experimental, right? But what is the usual approach? You stake in tokens. you see a diminishing APY. You start at 1,000, go down to 2, which is still way more than the bank's ever going to give you. But what ends up happening is you're usually receiving the same token when you stake. I don't want that. That's 2021 stuff, right? I've worked for DeFi projects in 2021. I did marketing, and I can tell you it was really frothy and exciting back in the day. People wanted to stake in and earn more tokens, but now people want something different. They want a connection to external companies. They want tie-ins with Web 2 to Web 3. They want to earn something other than the token they already have. And what better system than being able to give back to you through business revenue flow? In this case, the business is on chain, right? But it's still a business. So be able to get a cut of that and also have your voice heard in a decentralized manner through a DAO is pretty exciting. So of course, that's just part of the utility. Of course, there is going to be more. What I can kind of say is like a little sneak peek, which also is in the white paper as well. But just for those listening, you can also take Mammoth token and use that on the launchpad when it gets launched as well, right? So you'll be able to qualify for different tiers of access. So if you guys are familiar with launchpads outside of Pink Sale, there's usually these tier systems, right? I remember the first launchpad I ever got into was BSC Pad. That dates me a little bit, but that was the first project I actually ever gotten into. And their big pull was you own enough BSC pad tokens, you qualify for platinum tier, or I think even a diamond tier or something. And you got first round access to all the IDOs they offered, which back in the day were very lucrative. So it's one of those things, that was at peak FOMO during 2021. Well, what do you think is going to happen in the next cycle, right? We're just a few months relatively away from it. People are going to come in. They're going to see their influencers talk about it again. They're going to say, oh, I should get back in, but where do I start? Well, they're going to probably want to get into ecosystems that they feel a little bit more safe with that are also similar to what they're used to, which, again, what's more similar than a traditional, kind of business where you can own, like, let's say a stock and kind of, earn a rev share in a way, through dividends in some stocks, right? So it's kind of like that sort of approach, but different and on chain. And I would say more feature rich in a way. Of course, there is always risk, right? That's part of crypto. There's smart contract risk, and there's also risk just, as in any investment. But I love to see that this team is doing something different. Again, I just think that's kind of a cool approach.
Awesome. Now, I just want to make sure that my assessment on the sacrifice, that you guys are actually using as tokens, and actually the sacrifice tokens were not going to be in the circulation supply again, correct? That's going to be ultimate. Okay, great. So you're pretty much, that's actually a very clever, again, like I said, it's actually you're killing the total supply at the same time you convert that burn into a position of earning share revenue. Very clever.
Thank you. I didn't create it, right? I'm just helping the team out, but I can say that, I think it is clever, right? Because what you'll see is permanently removing the supply. The team doesn't get it. The individual doesn't get it, right? And now they're more interested in the ecosystem because they're involved. They have points on this thing. They're more likely to share with a friend. They're more likely to give it a like and a retweet on socials to kind of break through the algorithm, right? They're more invested. So it's in their best interest to spread this versus if you own a token, some people could care less if they support because they're just looking to pump it and then they can get rid of it. But when you're sacrificing it, it's a completely different ballgame, but it can be very lucrative, especially as this expands.
Exactly, because the tokens become deflationary. So meaning ultimately, well, just one-on-one, right? Supply and demand, right? So if you have a token that's ultimately keep on reducing the supply, that ultimately bring value to the token. So the big question here is, it seems like you guys have thought out the ecosystem pretty well. I think the business strategy is very well thought out. Now the question is, like you said there, it's just the external revenue coming in, right? To ensure that the people that are burning the token will be able to get that revenue, right? Ultimately, or hopefully, soon, right? So that's going to be the big questions. But I'm pretty sure that you guys all have all that worked out as well.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a great point, right? Because you have to think when will my ROI come, right? Well, it's a couple different things, right? The earlier you buy the token, considering it will do well, let's say, right? The earlier you buy the token, the more rev share you're getting, proportionate to if someone was buying tokens later, they're going to have to basically spend more money to get basically less tokens, right? So you're inherently getting less rev share. Now, what happens too is you have to think, well, how quickly is this revenue going to generate? Now, for that, you have to see the work of the team. You're going to have to see their continued hard work and expanding into the first project, the second, the third, the fourth, all the way through the seventh and beyond. But here's the thing. If they have one project after this in their ecosystem that's successful, that, at least to me, just to me, might be the same for other people. It is a good indication, in my opinion, of concerted effort to make it work, right? If you have one success, then it's easier to do the second, it's easier to do the third, the fourth, and then it just becomes like so much easier because you have down the process. It doesn't mean that you have down the utility 100% because each one's different, right? Building a DEX is much different than building a launchpad, than much different than building, other utilities, but you have the process down as far as offering it to your users. You have an idea on, the amount of time it takes. So I'm excited to see that first project. That's the one I'm interested in. The first project they do, because if that's a success, then that is a really good indicator for future rev flow, and you can start to kind of map that out as a reference to see, basically when that ROI hits.
Right. Now, I just want to clarify that because I did read that you guys will be planning to, build a project between 8 to 12 weeks. Now, let's clarify that a project is that project is that it's going to be for this ecosystem where it's going to help with the revenue coming through this ecosystem, or is it a complete project, crypto project with its own contract?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked. Yes. So it is going to be dedicated to this ecosystem. It's not going to be a meme coin that's just existing outside of this. And if it's successful, then we bring it in. It's going to be dedicated to this project. So what they're meaning by that is there's not necessarily going to be additional tokens. It's all going to be derived in Mammoth, but it's going to be utilities. So I guess the better way to say it is utilities, right? So when we think of a DEX, like a Uniswap, right? There's a Uniswap token. They're not looking to do that. They're not looking to have a Mammoth DEX token, right? Everything should be derived in Mammoth, which again brings utility, it brings rev flow, and it just makes things simple. So the better way to think of it is new utilities within that span of time, not necessarily new projects with dedicated contracts and tokens. So a little bit easier to understand that way.
I think you guys probably want to reword that because I think I do have a lot of questions I see in the room that's actually questioning that statement as well. From what I understood, I thought it was projects as well. But I think now that you mentioned and we're talking about the ecosystem and the revenue that you guys are planning, or the I guess utilities that you guys planning to generate revenue to kick back to the ecosystem. I think utility is probably the right word to describe that.
Well, it is and it isn't, right, at the same time. So in the short term, 100% it should be switched to utilities. But the reason why I think that phrasing was used is because eventually this project wants to have a launchpad, right? And they want to launch external projects from the launchpad, which are still going to be needing Mammoth to be able to launch, to be able to, be accepted. Basically, they're going to have a tie-in. So eventually there will be separate projects with separate tokens launching from this launchpad. But in the short term, it's 100% utility. So to your point, yes, we'll update that in the white paper because I do want people to understand these are not other tokens. People don't have to worry about the team generating 5, 6, 7 different tokens and then hoping that people still remember Mammoth. No. They're utilities, but eventually new projects will come in and launch from this, which are also going to be using Mammoth either for launch requirements or otherwise. So that is a very good point, actually. I'll make sure they update that.
Awesome. Now, one of the another main features that you guys put a lot of emphasis on is the anti-dump system. Which is let's dive deep into that.
Definitely. So here's the thing: I think it's playing some music now. Give me 1 second here. Apologies if that was loud. Was that playing for you guys too, or no?
No, actually, No, I didn't hear anything. Is that from the video that you showed
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah, it was
Oh, no
playing a bit
way.
loud, so apologies.
Sound like 15
um,
minutes late.
no, you're good, you're good. Okay, I wanted to find the section here. There's a section on the actual burn mechanics. Now, when it comes to, or sorry, not the burn mechanics, the anti-dump, I did want to say for the anti-dump system though, that it was thought out in a sense that they don't want to mitigate you from necessarily selling. We want you to be able to still actualize profit, but it's going to be done in a way that's still responsible, right? So you can see here a little bit on the anti-dump system, which is called the anti-red wall mechanisms. They are keeping this pretty close to their chest, to be honest. So there are going to be more details to come when it comes to their anti-dump system, but they're not letting too much out of the bag right now. I did speak with Rudolph, and he was saying, look, it's a way that we're approaching anti-dump that hasn't been done yet, but we also don't want to necessarily get it out there and then other projects steal it, because that has happened in the past, and I've actually seen that happen too. But just know it's going to be a way where you can still see profit, but it's not going to allow you to dump your entire bag in one go. And it's also going to be different than what's existing out there as far as, smart contract parameters to, disallow you from selling more than, 1% of total supply or something like that. It is going to be different, but more to come on that. So just wanted to make sure that it wasn't already updated on the page. That means I should probably keep it under wraps for now, but more to come there on the anti-dump system.
Sounds good. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, let's dive deep into the detail of it and how it works.
Yeah. So sorry, I don't know if I was clear enough there. So they are alluding to it, but
no,
they
what,
don't have.
what I'm saying is that, sorry, Adam, what I'm saying is that you guys do have some information on it on your website that's in public as far as how it works. If we can go ahead and talk about what is on the website. You don't have to speak on things that are not on the website, but I think it does tell you how it works on there.
Let me find it really quick. I know they just updated this, so bear with me here, guys. Sorry.
I think I did read it. I can speak about it if you would like to. Want me to speak on it?
Sure. Let me actually ask the team, because I know they just updated this, so I want to make sure we're displaying it if we have it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, they're saying they have an overview there. Did you catch it on the website somewhere here? I wonder if it was maybe on there before and they updated it.
I think it was. I think it was in the white paper. If I remember correctly.
Perhaps in the white paper. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
I think it's towards the very end of it.
So I see, yeah, I see point 4, which is kind of just what was on the website, just kind of speaking about that there is going to be an anti-dump, but let me see if it's expanded out. We speak a little bit about it, but again, still keeping it pretty close to our chest. So either way, it is going to be explained out more, but I don't have too much more for you guys right now when it comes to the anti-dump. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah. I think how I understood it when I read it, I believe so. Yeah, I cannot find it right now, but I believe that. So I guess the anti-dump that you guys designed is supposedly I guess the contract kicks in automatically if it hits. Let's say if you have an all-time high, right? If it goes below 40%, I guess the contract kicks in and it prevents sales. So I think that was one of the biggest features that I read that I kind of still remember. And so my question on that is that if a project goes to all-time high and it drops 40%, the contract kicks in and it stops people from selling. I guess where's the measurement as far as when do you guys allow for people to start trading again? So I guess that was one of the questions that I have while you're reading it. But we can always, I guess you guys can always come into a room later and update us on that if you like.
Yeah, I think that would probably be best because I know actually exactly what you're talking about as far as those parameters for dumping. I know that was in, I think, version like 1.2, I think, of the white paper, but they are looking to actually kind of revamp that a little bit. So I believe that was the old plan, but they did kind of map that out and they're like, well, maybe there's better ways to do it. So I know they're looking to do something similar to exactly what you just said, but having it be a little bit more finely tuned. So I think it would be good maybe for, an update AMA.
Sounds great. Sounds great. But yeah, because that system that I've read there, yeah, I think I do see the logic behind it. But if it's not carefully thought out, um, it can bring some problems there as far as inciting I guess having that incentive for people to trade, right? So what that means is it prevents volume as well. And so oftentimes that you have a lot of developers overlook that. They will set the tax buy way too high to prevent dumping, but at the same time, you're simultaneously preventing activity on your project in your contract. And as you know, if a project has no volume, it's
It's
pretty much
dead.
dead, right? So
Yeah.
exactly. So you kind of have to wait that out.
On the other side of that too, you'll see some of these projects, they'll like stealth or otherwise, and they'll set just a ridiculous like buy and sell, right? Supposedly to stop snipers, but they usually don't even announce what the tax is, right? And then when they say it's going to go back to normal, it ends up not going to normal till like 20 minutes after they say it will. So there's some really like just there's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth when it comes to traditional like anti-sell mechanisms, because usually it's just teams trying to tax farm. So again, that's why this team is just so careful with analyzing the market, seeing what other teams are doing, want to do things better, and they're also not afraid to optimize. So it's just kind of important to kind of understand that they are holding it pretty close to their chest, but it's for good reason. They want to make sure that it's really dialed in into the final version of the white paper, so that way people understand.
We can always get an update on that later. All right. So one thing, Adam, that really stood out to me is actually pretty, really, really awesome, and I appreciate the confidence that you guys have over there. You have two different tokenomic models. You have the initial model at before 1.7 billion market cap, and you have the post 1.7 billion market cap model as well. Let's talk about that. That is pretty strong statement there.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. It is. And when it comes to those different, you can see right here, when it comes to those different, buckets, right? I was told this multiple times, like, wait a second, if it's at the $1.7 billion market cap, we're talking like high up on the front page of CMC. You're right. It would be high up on the front page of CMC. But here's the thing, right? We've seen projects like, here's one, Decentraland, right? Which was that first foray into the metaverse in Web3. No one's even on it anymore. It kind of sucks, right? But it was front page for the longest time. I think it even still is. It's not like top 10 by any means, but it still is, right? So it's not impossible, right? Startups who literally didn't even have a visible dev or a visible team in any regard ended up being top 10, right? So it is definitely possible. It's definitely not impossible, but it will take a lot of growth. So they just wanted to put it on the white paper. Rudolph and the team wanted to put on the white paper just to say, as a statement, we're ambitious. We're not afraid to shoot for the stars. If we land among them, it's a huge win. But realistically, we're in this range for a bit while the team builds, right, below $1.7 billion market cap. So as you can see here, buy of 5, sell of 8. So buy of 5, of course, is going to be 1% auto sacrificing, which is great. So even though you're buying, you're automatically getting sacrifice points within the DApp, which is great. So when you connect for the first time, you're already greeted by points, which is a really nice thing. It also encourages you to actually use the DApp and maybe even contribute more points into the sacrifice. You're getting 2% for shareholders spread across shareholders, 2% for development and marketing, and then when you go to sell, 4 and 4 from shareholders to development. So what's nice here is there is still rev coming in through buy and sell, which is great, and it's a very simple understanding that whether you're buying or selling, there's still rev coming in, and that's separate from the actual revenue generated in the platform itself through the utilities we mentioned.
Awesome. Yeah. So once they hit the 1.7 billion market cap, the taxes will be reduced. So I love that. I love that. That tells me that he did sit there and really put a lot of thoughts into every single thing and working out the detail. Now 1.5, but it has to be 1.7.
Yeah, it's just one of those things again where it's like, you need to be specific, and you also want to make sure that even if it does hit that, range, that there's still guaranteed rev flow coming in. Because believe me, if you're top page of CMC, you're getting volume, and a lot of volume, right? So still being able to capture some of that to go back to shareholders, not for the team. You don't need a market anymore. You're known by everybody, but it should still go back to the shareholders in a reasonable tax amount.
All right, so guys, like Adam touched on a bit there, you guys, they do have a pre-sale going on right now on Pink Cell. The max contribution on that is 10%, but currently, I think Adam mentioned that you do get that 30% additional earned revenue points. Correct there, Adam? Is that right? If I remember correctly, what you said?
100%. Yeah, exactly. What was mentioned earlier. So by contributing into the fair launch right now, you are, of course, getting the opportunity to get a 30% boost on your sacrifice points on platform, but you do have to make the max buy of 10 each. So if you contribute under, you're getting in the token early, but you're not getting that 30% boost. So again, we want to make sure that we're reserving those boosts for really early investors or those that are what would be considered, larger investors, whales in this ecosystem. We want to make sure to take care of them to give them that extra bonus in platform rev share.
Awesome. And also, it is a down. So I believe that the points also have to do with there's a relationship with the DAO, correct, too, as well?
Well, there is, yes. So of course they'd be getting a 30% bonus in relation to the money they're putting in, not just in the rev share, but also a fourth going towards their vote power as well in the DAO.
Okay, sounds good. And the DAO is pretty much, it gives you a saying as far as directing the project where you want to see it, and is usually in proportion to your weight. Your power weight is usually in proportion to what you hold. So very straightforward. Sounds great, Adam. Man, you are very well speaker, and I think you represent the project very well. Is there anything that you want to speak on that we may have not gotten to?
Hey, thank you. Well, you know what? This is my first time being here, and I can say just the same. You're a fantastic host. I've been on both sides of the table, hosting and presenting over the last 3 years here, and it's a real pleasure to find high quality, rooms like yourself. So thank you for having us. But I think we covered all the high points. Again, I'll just solidify this just one more time for listeners right now, or those that may be listening post. There's a clear benefit for buying and using Mammoth, and I do put emphasis on using the token because it is a utility, by sacrificing, getting platform points, which are going to, of course, give you rev share, but also voting power, as we just mentioned. And then in addition to that, understand where the revenue is coming from. We talked about the taxes. The taxes are, of course, fueling some of the revenue, especially to bootstrap it. You want that money coming in right away, and through taxes, it will come right away, whether it be through buys or sells or a combination, usually a combination. But then the long-term version, and especially as we get into the billion-dollar market cap, goals, right, is to really have this be reliant on revenue from the platform utilities. So not just staking, but also a decentralized exchange. You have Launchpad utilities and a bunch other that the team is looking to bring in, and also have an entire team dedicated to those different facets to make sure they all operate smoothly and that they're scalable as well. So I hope you guys, enjoyed that. And also, I would say, measure this up against some other things you might have your eyes on, right? Do they have a CertiK audit? Do they have a visible CEO? Oh, I think we got someone unmuted there. But anyways, that was all my... okay. That was all my points. So I just want to say thank you.
Thanks for that there, Adam. I'm not sure who unmuted themselves there. But we will have a chance for you guys to ask questions, okay, guys? We're almost there. Yeah, again, I just want to recap what Adam said there. I think one of the most clever thing I see in the project is actually very very well thought out. That feature is that sacrifice points, right? I mean, sacrifice the tokens, burning the token completely out of supply, which ultimately raise up the demand, right, in value of the token itself. But you're not just burning it; you can actually it gets converted into points that you can earn share revenue from the project down the line. Very clever stuff. Actually, that's something that I have to think more on that, and I think a lot of projects should actually use that concept. Very clever. Sounds great, Adam. So at this point here, we do have a pin post, and if you look at your post, there's a bunch of questions on there. Mike has been keep tracking. What are the great questions? Do you have time to take some questions?
Oh, yes, I definitely do.
Perfect. So with that said, Mike will come on and he will read some of the questions off, and he will also allow time for anyone that wants to speak as well and on voice to ask questions. Floor is yours, Mike.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. That was a great presentation there, Adam. I just wanted to double down and say that you are absolutely a great speaker, brother. Presented that very well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So, Quinn, we're going to get the voice questions out of the way, as we did have a couple here. Let me go back to Quinn here. Quinn, you're on the floor, and mic is open. Go ahead and ask your question.
Will tax increases in the long run when the projects have gotten a good number of traction?
Oh, good question. It'll actually decrease, which is great. So what's not going to happen is a crazy tax farm number, which most projects do, like I mentioned earlier. They'll have like a 25% tax, 3% tax, and then they'll lower it back to what their nominal tax is of 2 or 3%. Here, it's going to start at the low tax, continue at low tax, and is only going to get lower, as we saw, once it reaches, their lofty goals there of 1.7 billion.
All right. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn. Let's see. And this is the next hand up here, Benova. Going to unmute you here, Benova. Go ahead. You're unmuted. The floor is yours. You there, Benova? We can come back to you. I know we did have, where are you? I love you. You wanted to also ask a question on voice. If you're here, please go ahead.
Yeah, up on my debut.
What's that?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, yep.
All right, that's nice. It's an amazing presentation, by the way. It's a great thing. Yeah, so I actually have a few questions for you. The first one is concerning your NFT collections. I also want to know if you guys have plans to create an like a NFT marketplace for the NFT collection you guys will be having.
We are looking to build an NFT collection. Yeah. So I just mentioned it briefly, but I'd love to go over it again just quickly. So how our NFT collection is going to work is they're going to be in-house created NFTs. They're going to be bound to, so you're going to be able to have the minting ability to be able to take your tokens on the DApp, or not tokens, your points on the DApp that you've earned through sacrificing, and you're going to be able to publish those, right, to the NFTs that are created, right? So you're going to be able to take your points, publish them to the NFTs, and then once you do, here's the cool thing, you're going to be able to take those NFTs and sell them. You can sell them, you can borrow them out. If someone wants to, vote on an important matter that maybe isn't as important to you for whatever reason, you can lend it out, you can sell it. It is fully yours, which is great. So that's how it's going to work. And yes, they are building their own NFT marketplace to be able to facilitate that as well.
Sorry, when you say I can lend the NFT out, let's say the person I lend the NFT out you is using the NFT, will I still be able to gain a certain percentage of the mix is using for an NFT collection?
I didn't quite understand your question there. Are you asking, are you going to be able to get royalties, or?
Kind of sounded like that was a question.
Oh, okay. Well, right now, no, and not necessarily, because there's not going to be any like extra inherent tax or anything, on the NFTs. It's more going to be really a utility focused NFT. So they haven't really, integrated in royalties, currently, but they could look at it, right? Again, the NFTs are going to take a little bit, right? We're not going to see them, within a week or so, but they are going to be, done after the platform goes live, and then they're going to be integrating in the NFT. So it could be something that might even be one of the first DAO votes that happens, one of the first few. I know they already have some ideas on the first couple, but that could be maybe the third or fourth one, as to how royalties would be built. And I could see it totally possible. I mean, the big NFT platforms do it, so or marketplaces, I should say. So I could see it happen here, but it's really going to be more than the art. It's going to be focused on the utility piece.
That's actually understandable. That's a very good idea concerning the NFC. I'm just gonna move on to my next question, which will be the last question. The question goes it's about your community. So you guys will be building a community. It's getting stronger, and you actually get some people asking questions about your project. Since they don't understand your project, they're gonna be dropping the questions on the chat, and you guys will be replying them. So let's say someone dropped the question, and the question the guys drop is not in an English language form. How do you guys actually plan on answering the person that dropped the question? Let's say it's in a Paris and a Paris language. How do you guys plan on answering them?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, to be 100% transparent, I mean, this is going to be an English focused community, right? But the founder himself, he's from Europe, right? So as things develop, as more people come into the community, they're of course going to poll the community and say like, hey, do you want us to open maybe a German speaking room, which most Germans understand English, but still, like, do you want to open up, a group for this language or that language, especially as we get into like, Asian speaking countries and such. Do we open a Chinese room, Indonesian, whatever? Crypto's worldwide. It's not just in the US. It's not just in, Europe. It's everywhere. So it is important to leave space for those rooms to be open, but also, and I can tell you personally, like doing marketing and running, community development and stuff, you don't want to open those too soon, because then what happens is you end up having information not being filtered through properly, and you'll have maybe like an Italian speaking group that doesn't get the information fast enough because the mod or whoever's supposed to be in that group isn't awake. Or there's just all these complexities. So you have to have scale first before you start to do things like that. But yeah, they'll definitely look to expand and of course answer questions in those different languages.
This a really cool this is a really cool answer. Thanks for answering my question, by the way. Thanks, Mike, for giving me the opportunity to ask my question. Wish you the best of luck. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Hello, Mike. Can you hear me?
All right. I think Mike, you still there?
Oh, I was muted. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Benova. I see you're finally here. Go ahead, ask your question there, brother, and then we'll get on to Mozzie Mike, who's been having his hand up for a while.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike, for this very much opportunity. My question to the team is that I saw on your white paper that you are allocating 1% to the sacrifice. That is from the buy side of it, allocating 1% to the sacrifice. I want to know, in the long run, will you allocate this same 1% to both the buy and sell from the tax? I don't know. I forgot where I saw it.
Yeah, good question. I did. So the way the buy and sell is set up right now is pretty much where it's going to stay for the most part, right? Again, this could totally be something that goes up for a vote in the DAO, but they did really think through this to make sure that it that it works, right? So you're automatically kind of getting a taste of the sacrifice points automatically by buying, which encourages you to go into the DApp. You're, of course, helping shareholders. When it comes to the sell side, under $1.7 billion market cap, you're doing even more for the shareholders and also helping development as well. So, of course, you're not really going to need sacrifice tokens because you've already left the ecosystem effectively by selling your tokens, especially if you sell all of them, which would be mitigated anyways by the anti-dump system. But still, we want to make sure to encourage people to explore the ecosystem as they buy, especially when they buy, and make sure that it just makes sense. So these tokenomics are pretty locked in as far as the buy and sell tax.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam. Thank you, Mike, for this opportunity. That was the only question I had. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Benova. All right, let me find you there, Mozzie Mike, and unmute you. All right, Mozzie Mike, you're unmuted. Go ahead, brother. Ask your question. Are you with us, Mozzie Mike? All right. Well, we can come back to you later on if anything. I'm going to ask a couple of text questions here as well. I know we were speaking on the NFTs there for a little bit. You don't happen to have any idea on how many NFTs are going to be in the collection and if there's going to be a max amount per wallet, and also how much of these are going to cost, the base cost?
That's a great question. So for the mint fee, they are really looking at what makes the most sense. Again, this team's been working on this for many, many months now. So they want to make sure it makes sense, but it's definitely going to be attainable. So you're not going to see a $300 mint fee to be able to mint this, because again, it's utility based. So I don't have the exact number, just to be honest. I don't have the exact number, but it is going to be reasonable. It's going to be something that the majority of people can afford, but it also needs to be enough to generate a reasonable amount of revenue back into the system. Because again, that's going back to rev share. It's going back to the holders. As far as exact amounts, also kind of the same thing. Because it is further in development, they want to make sure that it meshes well with the total holder count, that they're not having too many or too few. Because although it might sound really great to have only 100 of these things, for a utility, it's not so good. Because then the secondary market goes really well, but the primary market and exposure might not be so great. So it is kind of a balancing act, and you have to make sure that you're not moving too quick to lock in things, because then people hold you to it as they should, and it's very hard to be flexible later. So basically, to be announced when it comes to this.
Perfect. That's the as the saying goes there, over deliver and under promise, right?
Exactly.
Let's see. I've had another community question, and I don't think we touched on this. What came about with the name Crypto Strikers for the project? And I know you have Mammoth as the name of the ticker, but why Crypto Strikers?
Oh man, I really think the CEO would probably be the best one for this, but I can tell you, obviously with being in the market so long, I think they really do. And this is my personal, idea is, they want to be something that's, a striking presence in the crypto market, right? So also it kind of invokes ideas of soccer as well. So maybe he's a soccer fan. I haven't asked that, but I know on the Mammoth side, it is definitely, being something more legendary and massive than what someone would consider a whale as. Obviously whales are huge, right? But being able to be something more legendary, a mammoth, right? That's why they went with the Mammoth token. So I love that part of the lore. Crypto Strikers, I'll have to get back to you on the exact, origin story there. I don't want to hypothesize too much, but as far as the token itself, I love the name and the story behind that.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious. Maybe you can have the founder come on in and tell us exactly what that is, because I'm a very, very good backstory. I'm sure what it is, and curious to know. Let's see. Next question. This person has a question about the partnerships. I don't think we touched on the partnerships yet. What partnerships do you have currently, and how are they impacting the project?
So there's a few. Again, we like to kind of go along the lines of over deliver and kind of under promise, right? Or the reverse is usually said. So on our website, you'll be able to actually see. Hopefully, it doesn't blast music at me. Let's see. Okay, not too bad. Oh, it's doing it now. Okay, sorry about that. I'll just lower my volume here for a second. Okay, so we of course are going to be listed on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. Of course, we have some of those partnerships listed there because those are people we're going to be affiliated with. DEX Tools, we're going to have ads there, but we can actually see the partnerships playing in the background right here. These are some of the AMA lounges, some of the call groups that are supporting us, and one that really impressed me too is, well, there's a lot here, but WCT, I'm really close with Whale Coin Talk. Of course, we have USA Crypto, so shout out to you guys. Moon Boys as well. They're a private group, very good friends with the owners there. And there's just a ton. I mean, I'm just going to let you guys kind of just see this as far as all the supporters we have. Some other things that are important as well is we obviously have an entire in-house development team, but we also have external partners as well. I'm not going to shout them out too much. I'd like for you guys to explore, but I would say the most known partners are going to be the ones in the video that we just saw. So a lot of call channels, AMA lounges, and otherwise.
Perfect. Okay, I can totally understand not want to divulge too much. Let's see. I think. Oh, where'd Mozzie go? He did just have his hand back up, but we'll come back to him for one last question. One last question from my side is I always like to ask every single project that comes in here, Adam, is if you could pick one thing, and it might be hard as it's very challenging. From start, when you guys wanted to create Mammoth Crypto Strikers till today, what would you say the most difficult or the hardest task that you've had to overcome and complete?
Oh yeah, that's a really good one. And by the way, as a little prelude there, I do have the answer to the question of where did Crypto Strikers came from. So let me start there. It's just kind of set the mood a little bit. I love this answer, by the way. So Rudolph himself told me I wanted to go with the name Crypto Strikers because I am known as Crypto Striker in the crypto space on crypto Twitter and otherwise. You can find him by searching that, by the way. So he wanted to do the sacrifice of being able to take his name and give back to the community as a sacrifice in that way. And it's a little bit of a note, basically, of the revolution to come and his sacrifice of really giving everything he has to make sure that this is successful. I also did want to mention, as we're talking right now, we're trending #1. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. I saw some contributions come in as well. So really great. But that's a bit of the answer as where Crypto Strikers came from. Also, for those that might not know him as well, you can look him up. He's a pretty well-known whale in some groups. I'll let you guys kind of find that out for yourself, but he's involved himself in NFTs, larger projects going all the way back from 2021 up through now. So you'll definitely be able to see a little bit about him there. So look to create his own project. Why not name it after his most well-known name in the space as a sacrifice? So now going into what I'm personally most excited for, I'm excited for people to uncover what sacrificing can mean as far as getting into a token. I've never seen a system done like this before. Being able to get rev share and voting power by simply sacrificing your token is something that I am excited to see people see the power of. Again, it's not just, down the road revenue. It's also derived from buy, sell, as well as that, rev flow that's coming from the ecosystem being built out. So that's what I'm excited for people to try something new and actually see good results from that. That's definitely going to be pretty fun.
Very exciting. And just to reiterate that last question there, since the beginning to now, if the hardest thing that you've had to build out on the project, could you elaborate on what that is?
Well, I would say it's making sure to not give up, right? Trends come and go. Meme coins come and go, but being able to stay persistent even through, again, this project has been worked on for many months now. You can see that through its history on Telegram and Twitter and TG, being able to overcome all the FUD, not on the project, but just in the market, and then saying, we're going to persevere. We have something fresh. We're going to also go big on education. I would say that's the biggest thing, is educating people on it's okay to get into something new and try out something that's revolutionary. That is the biggest challenge, but it's overcome through education.
Great answer. Education is absolutely everything, and I would definitely say that as well. All right, well, Adam, that's going to be all the questions that we're going to have here from the community and from USA Crypto Group today. We're going to move on to the giveaway portion now, where I'm going to share my screen with the wheel. At this time, you can stay if you'd like to, check it out, and or you can go. It's totally up to you. I'm not sure if you have plans now, but let me get my screen up here.
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and hop, but I just wanted to say to both of you, thank you so much for the time. Absolutely amazing to be able to join in. Again, brand new community to me, so love to be able to see this from my firsthand. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks again.
Thanks, Adam. And we just broke 35K BTC, guys. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, I'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Bye. See you, Adam. All right, guys, 35K BTC, man, and yeah, some sales are coming in through Pinkcell, and yeah, it's trending #1 right now. I think Adam did a very good job articulating himself in the project. I really like the idea of burning the token, get rid of the token, but then earning rewards points. I like the idea a lot. It's something that we may have to look into to implement ourselves, Mike.
Yep, absolutely. I see where your brain's going, brother. All right, well, we're going to shuffle this up a little bit here. Grab our winner off the wheel.
Oh, by the way, Benova. So the whole time, Mike, I thought you said bend over, and I was just laughing my ass off in the background. So I
maybe it's the East Coast accent a little bit there, a little bit. Now, Jinx, congratulations, won yourself $20 there, brother. That's it for the wheel. Congratulations, guys. That was a really good AMA. I think we're just rolling into about an hour and a half here. We still have the Twitter giveaway going of $25 there. Retweet and drop a comment there. That'll be all picked tomorrow. We're going to also post up as soon as this is over, upload to YouTube. We have an additional $15 opportunity. All you do is share and like and drop a comment there as well. And I'll be picking a $15 there as well. We're also always going to do the $20 best question as well. Well, when we sifting through, there was quite a bit. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the guys who also wanted to come up and ask on voice as well. I know sometimes it can be a little hard for someone to want to come up and voice, but we always encourage all voice questions, and we'll be awarding $20 there as well for the best question. With that being said,
I just want to say thank you, guys, and also it looks like you guys kind of like what you guys hear there. I think the model is good. Just gonna be active in the community and see where the team can build for the ecosystem go, because almost the system is dependent on the revenue share, right? A very awesome system. But for them to get a CertiK Audit, especially Skynet as well, tell me that they're very serious. Yeah, we did three ETH, which is a lot more than what they've done the last few days. So it looks like you guys believe in the project. But like always, guys, not financial advice. Make sure that you guys do your research accordingly, make your assessment accordingly, and invest what you can afford to lose only.
Well said. All right, guys, well, we're going to close up the mic here. Be on the lookout for the YouTube upload, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace.
Awesome. Peace. And we're going to open the room right now. Open up the chat room. All right, guys. See you guys over there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.